And Trey Lance's pro day. I don't necessarily want to talk about the pro day itself, because I can't tell you how well it went or didn't go. Most of these pro days go well because it's scripted. You know, you're going out there, you're throwing the guys you're comfortable throwing to, you're throwing in an environment that's comfortable. You know the throws that you're making, you set it up, you and your guys set it up. So I expect when pro day, it's only news. Remember a wise man once telling us at the combine, it's not news when a guy does what he's supposed to do. Fast guys run fast, slow guys run slow. It's only a story when the opposite happens, right? That's what a wise man once told us. Same thing with a pro day. Pro days are pro days because they're supposed to go well. They're not a story if they go well. It's only a story if the opposite happens. That's why when Teddy Bridgewater's pro day was so awful, it was a news story. Because you're like, whoa, this doesn't happen at pro days. And Teddy's like, oh, no, I messed up. I didn't wear the gloves. Let me do it again. I'm not really here to talk about his pro day. I'm here to talk about Trey Lance and him being a polarizing figure in this draft. Chris Sims had his quarterback ranking list, and Trey Lance was way down, like 6th or 7th on the list. He had guys like Mac Jones and Kellen Mond over him, and he was way down the list. And there are people that are on both sides of the fence. They love Trey Lance. They love his upside. They think this guy has immense talent, and he does. All of those things are true. And then there are people on the other side of the fence. He only averaged 15 passing attempts per game, and he only played in one season, and this, that, and the third. And all of that is true as well. Okay? Both of these things can be true. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can both be true at the same time. And they are. But I talked to somebody on Twitter the other day that messaged me and said, I don't want Trey Lance. You know, and it might have been on my YouTube channel. He said, I don't want Trey Lance. He only averaged 15 passing attempts per game. And I laughed at that because it's true, but it's still funny to me that people use that as a reason to not want a guy. And I said, look, bottom line is, while that may be true, there is context to everything. And there's context to Trey Lance averaging 15 pass attempts. If you watched North Dakota State's offense, you know that their offense is a very balanced attack, where the quarterback himself is a part of the run game, and there were games where Trey Lance had over 20 rushes, including his final collegiate game that mattered, his national championship win against James Madison, where he toted the rock 30 times. But there are games where they also just destroy the competition. Remember, North Dakota State, they don't lose games. They win championships every year, most years going undefeated. They just lost their first game, I think 2 weeks ago. For the first time since like 2017. They don't lose football games. And so what I'm telling you is a lot of these games are pure, unadulterated ass thrashings. That by the third quarter, they're up by 37 points. So Trey Lance isn't even playing in the fourth quarter. Or if he is, he's just turning around and handing the ball off. Is it his fault that on his third pass of the game, it goes for 77 yards and a touchdown? No. Is it his fault that on the second play of the second quarter, he hands the ball off to his running back and he proceeds to rip off a 59-yard touchdown run, and they look up at the scoreboard at the end of the third quarter and it's 43-6? No, it's not his fault. So that's why he's got 15 pass attempts that game. And you go look at that 2019 season, there are a bunch of ass whoopings in there. Bunch of them. Okay? Where they don't need to throw the football in the fourth quarter. They don't need to throw the football by halftime. So there's context to everything. Bottom line is, don't talk about the 15 attempts. Talk about what he did in the 15 attempts. Okay? Pick apart what he did. Did he go through his progressions? Was he accurate? Did he throw a catchable football? On those deep shots, did he hit his guy in stride? Pick apart the 15 attempts. Don't talk to me about 15 attempts. So Trey Lance in his pro day, all anybody wants to talk about is the lack of exposure. And look, again, all of those are valid observations and points. I'm not dismissing that. And what I'm also saying to you is he doesn't have a ton of starts. But you know what Bucky Brooks said, and I didn't even think about this, but I've talked about this, not specifically to his case, but I've talked about this. We make a lot about guys not having a ton of starts, but not a lot of these guys don't have a ton of starts. Justin Fields only has like 24 career starts. Like, that's not a lot of career starts at the collegiate level. Like, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of starts. Everybody's not Trevor Lawrence and started, for 3 years essentially and been in the playoffs and played in national championships almost every year. So you got 37 starts under your belt or whatever. Not everybody's built that way. Trey Lance has the same amount of starts as Mac Jones does at Alabama. Is anybody talking about Mac Jones not having a ton of starts? I rest my case. I digress. The bottom line is, while he's a polarizing figure in this draft, the one thing that you can't dispute is he's talented. All right? We could talk about the lack of experience and the lack of, the numbers, and he's not the flashiest player in the world. The guy has tremendous upside. And anybody that thinks Kellen Mond is better than him as a prospect, and I'm not saying that Kellen Mond doesn't ultimately have a better NFL career, because as we all know, it's not necessarily the player all the time as much as it is where that player lands. You go to the right team and that team is able to put you in the best position to succeed, you blow up. You go to the wrong team, that same player with all those same characteristics and traits goes to a different team that doesn't use him correctly, and he flames out. We see it happen all the time. So it all depends on where Trey Lance goes and how they utilize his strengths, minimize his weaknesses, and develops him. That's the biggest thing, is he does need developing. He's a young kid, he's a young quarterback, but man, is he talented. And to me, he should be no worse than the 4th quarterback selected in the 2021 NFL draft. So